Hello and welcome to a very spooky edition of Starside Chat. Starside Chat. Your notes messed me up because it says Starside Cafe.
For some reason I wrote Starside Cafe instead of chat.
My name is Aaron, and with me as always is Zach. How's it going, Zach?
Good. It is Halloween as this episode is going up.
Yes, very spooky time.
So I have a thing I want to ask you about as like a sort of a quiz. What would you say are the most popular costume searches like on Google?
Well, I will say that when I go to Target, I see a lot of Fortnite characters as costumes that you can buy.
I mean, the number one would be like way more plain and normal than you would expect.
Mario.
It's not video game related.
Oh.
Like think general
vampire?
Halloween.
Vampire?
Close. A witch.
Oh, that makes sense.
And then number 2 is like the most popular Marvel character.
Iron Man.
Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah. I always forget he's Marvel.
Yeah. And then they also have like Dinosaur and like Stranger Things as just like a general costume, I guess. And
just Stranger Things. I'm dressed as Stranger Things this year.
Stranger Things this year. And then they have stuff like fairies and pirates. And number 7 confused me a little bit. It's rabbit. A lot of people dressing up like a rabbit.
From Donnie Darko?
It doesn't say. It just says rabbit. I'm confused.
Interesting.
And then they have stuff like cheerleaders, cowboys, Harley Quinn.
Wait, are there no video game things in the top 10?
No, there's not. This is just like a general national.
Crazy.
Well, I guess Spider-Man technically. Maybe you get like that Spider-Man Fortnite costume.
Yeah, that's true. I guess.
And then number 13 cracks me up because it's just the 1980s.
Whoa.
I guess these are just like general searches and not necessarily specific costumes, but like there are a lot of people out there.
I feel like these are like parents' searches as opposed to the kids searching for these.
For sure. But anyway, I thought that was fun. Any spooky Halloween favorite video games? Or good for this time?
A couple years ago, man, maybe like 6 years ago. I don't know how long ago it was, but it was Halloween that day, and I was like, man, I really want to play a scary game tonight. And that Alien Isolation game was on sale for like $20 on PlayStation. So I bought that and downloaded it, and I played maybe the first like 3 hours of it, basically until the first time I encountered the alien, and then I decided to not play it anymore.
Yeah, that's a good choice, though, if you're going to recommend like a good sort of spooky Halloween appropriate video game.
What about you? I know both of us love Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yeah, I was going to say, Luigi's Mansion 3 is one that I always think of this time of year, but I think I'm going to try playing some of that A Plague Tale Requiem. Like, are rats spooky? I mean,
rats are spooky.
That's about as spooky as maybe I want to get. I like the sort of Luigi's Mansion style fake spooky as my preferred version of spooky, but I don't know. Also, that Pumpkin Jack game from a few years ago.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I played that one. That was fun. If you like Nintendo 64 era, like platforming games and like The Nightmare Before Christmas, this is like a really good sort of mix of both. I guess we can get into the news. I just thought it would be fun to give some spooky Halloween video game recommendations.
Yeah. What about movies? Are there any... we talked about this a little bit before we started recording, but would you recommend any Halloween movies?
Again, because I don't really like scary, like horror stuff as a genre that much. My recommendations for Halloween movies are more like the Tim Burton version of Halloween. So like, I like that Sleepy Hollow movie. We were talking about that before we started recording. That's a good one. And then otherwise, it's just movies that are not actually Halloween themed movies, but or even horror movies, but for whatever reason I watch them this time of year. So stuff like Clue and Big Trouble in Little China. I don't know why I watch them this time of year. I just do.
I think both of those count. Both of them have like
some spooky elements.
Clue has
maybe?
like a murder. Yeah, spooky elements.
Yeah, Clue, they're in like this dark mansion alone with like a murderer, and they're trying to solve a murder. So I guess that
dark
counts.
and stormy night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, what about you?
Nothing jumps out at me. My girlfriend and I might watch the Hugh Jackman Van Helsing movie this weekend. I might watch that. I heard good things about that Disney Plus Werewolf by Night or whatever it's called.
I haven't heard of it.
And I like that Gael Garcia Bernal.
Oh yeah.
So I might check that out. It's not a movie though. I think it's only like 50 minutes or something. It's like a special presentation or whatever. But I might check that out.
Speaking of Disney Plus, I bet that Muppets like Haunted Mansion thing that they did like a year or two ago is probably on there.
Yeah, I watched that last year. Jeff Keighley's in it for some reason. It was good.
Yeah, I think I watched it as well, and I don't remember seeing Jeff Keighley.
He was a very brief cameo. He was a bust, like a statue thing.
Oh yeah, like in the credits.
It was during a song, I think. Maybe even it was in the credits. Yeah, he was only on screen for like maybe 3 seconds.
Well, anyway, I guess we can get into the news now.
Let's dive in.
So, first off, this is sort of an update to a story we talked about last week. Turns out Helena Taylor confirmed that she was offered $15,000. And so basically her initial claim was, if not an outright lie, at least misleading. So, yeah. I don't know that she will find a whole lot of success moving forward in the video game industry as like a voice actress. Maybe she'll be fine, but it seems like she wants to do theater instead anyway. But
yeah, I think she is moving out of this realm because she also was like, hey, you should donate to all these charities instead of buying Bayonetta 3 to like kind of recoup, I guess, or save face maybe. But one of the charities is like this charity that puts up anti-abortion billboards in Tennessee. So not a great look for someone who's trying to garner sympathy.
Yeah, I think she's done.
She's done. What's that thing that guy used to say? You and I both used to have to sit in a control room of a television station. And we'd have to watch baseball games. And there was a guy that would say stuff, I think in Chicago baseball games, like he's out of here or something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Maybe I'm misremembering. All right, disregard.
But yeah, and Jason Schreier basically came out and said that, yeah, she basically lied, is what it comes down to.
What a weird tale.
Yeah, it is a very strange thing. I don't, again, I still don't know why it would benefit her to have lied about it, but she did, so who's to say?
Yeah, I don't know what she thought was going to happen.
Yeah, and such a weird thing, too, because, very clearly, they were going to have, a paper trail on that one to be able to easily prove her wrong. So I'm not sure what she thought she would gain.
She's like an old person, right? So maybe she doesn't understand about technology.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I don't think she's that old, but maybe she's a little bit out of touch with tech. Who can say?
Could be.
So, speaking of prices and how much things are being paid out.
Speaking of spooky news.
And spooky news, Microsoft says that price increases are likely coming to Xbox consoles and services. So this happened to Sony, I feel like a few months ago, and we kind of were like, what is Sony doing? Why would they do that? Nobody else is doing it. Well, now it turns out Microsoft
Facebook did this too with the Quest. The Quest 2 was out for a good amount of time, and then they were like, hey, it's also increasing by $100 now.
Yeah, so I don't think they confirmed any actual price increases yet, but they're be on the lookout. This is probably a thing that's going to happen. So I don't know. I feel like this is a thing that we've not seen happen before. Granted, we're in crazy times right now, but to see a console price go up instead of down, normally this is about the time where they would maybe release like a slim version that's like even cheaper than the original model. But yeah,
It's a weird move. Maybe it has to do with shortages. I can't say it. You say it.
Shortages?
Yeah, maybe it has to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's maybe partially based on shortages, but I feel like it maybe has shortages. The more you say it, the weirder that word sounds.
Shortages. I did it.
You have to say it very slow. So you come up to it normally, and then you get to that and you go, shortages.
I don't know. Is this like a supply chain thing? Are chips still in short supply?
I feel like we were maybe coming out of that because the consoles were becoming easier to find, but also like the Steam Deck is like you don't have to wait for it anymore. You just order it and they ship it to you. So I don't know that it's that. I feel like it is just like cost of, getting all the parts and everything is going up along with everything else. And so they're like, well, we can no longer sell these at this price and still make a profit. So we're going to have to increase the price there. And like we've known for a long time that like the price of making games is like super high, but the price of selling games hasn't really gone up. And when they did go up for this new generation to like $70, people were not happy about it. But people are always saying, like the price of video games is like as cheap as they've ever been or cheaper than it has ever been based on like how much it costs to make them. So like maybe this was inevitable either way as far as like the price of games possibly going up. I feel like we're going to see a little bit of an increase to the cost of Game Pass at some point.
Yeah, I could see that. People they already have all their subscribers now, so
yeah,
that's what Netflix
did.
Yeah,
it happens with Netflix. I feel like every 6 months they're like, oh, I'm going to charge an extra $1 now. And it just keeps going up and up. But so that's a little bit of a bummer and a little bit spooky this Halloween season. But let's talk about Fallout, because there's been a lot of stuff happening in the Fallout universe this last week.
Yes.
So first off, Fallout 4 is getting a next-gen update for the PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC. I feel like maybe this is like they know Fallout is in high demand, and it's like a long ways off before we get a new Fallout, because it's like in line behind Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield. So it's going to be quite a long time before we get a new Fallout. So this is a little bit like, this was our last game. It did pretty well. It's not out on the new consoles yet. We can, get a little bit of an influx of cash and sort of satisfy that fan desire for more Fallout by just sending out an update for this.
The update's happening. I want to talk about the next thing.
Okay.
They released the first image of the Fallout TV series that's going to be on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
What do you think of this image? Let's describe it. For those who haven't seen it, it is in the foreground. There are 3 people, and it's like at the entrance of a vault from the inside. So you can see their backs. And then in the background, you see the vault is now open. It's like white light from the outside, as you always see. And then a person standing in that, like framed in that white light. An interesting feature of this is one of the people in the foreground has what appears to be a neck brace on. Is that your read, or do you think it's a neck brace?
I can't tell what that is. It does look different than the other jumpsuits.
It, to me, looks like a neck brace.
Also, the jumpsuits say 33 on the back, so this is Vault 33. I don't know if that's of any significance to anyone.
Oh, yeah. Is that a known... Actually, I can look on the Fallout. Probably it is not, I would guess. But I do remember that there is like a list of known vaults. Also, I'm looking at this tweet, and somebody else has pointed out, if you look closely, just in front of the open vault door, there appears to be a body, because there's like a foot. Maybe 2 feet. Oh, yeah, you're right. I totally missed that.
Just in front of the door. So this is potentially after things have gone down. My guess is maybe they're like some things have gone down and they're like, okay, we need to send somebody out. And so this is perhaps that person leaving the vault, or do you think this is somebody coming to the vault?
I am worried about the tone of this show.
Okay.
Because, I mean, this is all speculation. But here are two things we've seen. We see what I'm going to call a neck brace, which I feel is a comical piece of, like a comical prop. And then also to the left of that person, there is a guy with his hands over his mouth like he's shocked, which also seems like a comical element where like maybe these feet that we see are a dead person who just got shot by this person that's coming in. This man is covering his face in shock in a comedic way. And then there is someone who could be possibly some sort of buffoon who has a neck brace on, who's like maybe getting his feet stuck in buckets all the time.
You have really read into this.
That is my speculation, having seen this image for like 30 minutes. So I don't know. Do you think this is going to be...
I've envisioned something completely different based on this image. I thought that this is like similar to in like Fallout 3, where like somebody left the vault, like your dad left the vault, and so you're trying to figure out how to get out, and there's like this big scuffle basically where there's like a fight against the overseer basically, and you eventually get out. And so this is like maybe the main character leaving the vault for the first time, and it's like a big deal because people basically haven't left the vault. And so there was like a fight, there was some shooting, some people maybe died, and there are people that helped this person leave the vault by opening the door for him. And it's sort of like a nail-biting moment because people are like, don't even know what to expect is on the other side of the vault door. So that was my reading of it, but I could be completely wrong.
I feel like it's possible that an executive just like researched a little bit about Fallout and found like the robot from Fallout 4, the robot butler, and was like, man, this game is funny. This is what people like about this game, is comedy. So let's just make this very irreverent and like slapstick.
Well, Fallout is funny to an extent. Like there is like a serious undertone to it, but it is like a world that is like sort of at the intersection of like kind
50s
of
nostalgia.
Yeah, well, 50s nostalgia, but like that's sort of the aesthetic, but it's also like quirky humor along with, it's kind of, what is the term for it? There's like a term where like what's happening in a scene is like very serious, like maybe a shootout of some sort, but like the music is like 50s like peppy, like happy music. Counterpoint music is what they call it, where like the music is like all, you know, 1950s like happy-go-lucky music, while the scene you're witnessing is like this dystopian hellscape, and there's like these mutant creatures, and like everybody's being shot in the face and exploding in like giant pools of blood, you know. Like this is sort of the aesthetic of Fallout. And so it is comical, but it is also like serious.
I have two predictions about this, the trailer we're going to see imminently, probably.
Okay.
Prediction one is it will start like all other Fallout trailers, where it's like a close-up on a TV or something in a wasteland, and then it slowly zooms out to the wasteland. Prediction two is I think there's going to be a lot of zingers in this trailer of people being like, whoa, talk about a dog with a brain on its head or something. I don't know. I want to see a trailer for this.
I was going to say. So I'm guessing your outlook is not optimal for this show, is what you're saying.
You know what? Maybe this isn't even a neck brace. Maybe this is a weird piece of 50s technology. But I don't know. For the neck brace, I feel like is only a comedic item. Like you see it when someone is like going into a court case and they're pretending to be hurt or something. It's like a comical thing you don't see in a serious, I feel like, in a serious thing. So
I don't know if that's true. I also don't even know that it's a neck brace. It could just be like
it could very well not be a neck. Maybe it's just like a weird.
It could just be that this guy has a different jumpsuit because maybe he's of like a different rank or something like that. I'm not sure, but
I don't know.
There was like Bethesda posted a little video where they were just like, we're very excited about this TV show, and Todd Howard was on it. He was like, we thought about doing a show in the past, and we were like, no, not the right time. And then he was like, I always wanted to do the show with Nolan. What's his name?
Not Christopher Nolan.
Not Christopher Nolan. His brother, the other Nolan, the one who works with Lisa Joy on Westworld and like a bunch of other things. That Nolan. And he was like, take it away, Nolan. Well, he didn't say that, but like they then cut to the brother Nolan, and he's like on set and like very clearly on set. And they ask him, so like, why did you get into Fallout? He's like, Fallout? I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. He's like, could you maybe explain it to me? And then like this very clearly like power armor suit arm like reaches into frame and hands him a Nuka-Cola, and he takes it and he takes a drink of it. He's like, oh yeah, Fallout, I know what you're talking about. He's like, classic. Well, so years ago I set out to write the Great American Novel, and then I got a copy of Fallout 3, and now I work in TV. So basically he did not write the Great American Novel. He went into TV because he spent so many hours playing Fallout 3. It was a little bit jokey and lighthearted and funny, but also like you get a very brief glimpse of like what the aesthetic of this Fallout show might look like. And that was it. That was all they showed. So I don't know. I feel like the brother Nolan, because I can't remember his first name, and Lisa Joy, their aesthetic is not slapstick over the top comedy.
True.
I can't think of a single thing they've done that would be that tone. They're not like, irreverent, what's that? Borderlands style comedy. Like
that's exactly what I was thinking of, Zach, is Borderlands, because there is that Borderlands movie coming out.
Yeah,
and
I don't think
watching people play Borderlands is like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah,
to me.
Yeah, I feel like that's what that movie will be. At least I certainly hope that that's not. They're not going for a similar tone here. It would not fit Fallout if they did go for that. So hopefully that doesn't seem like their type of thing.
I didn't know that it was the brother Nolan, the Westworld guy, doing this. So that gives me a little bit more optimism about it, actually. Yeah.
So I am relatively excited about this. I know the only actor that I know is in it is Walton Goggins.
Okay.
I think he's supposed to play a ghoul, or like what is the name of?
Oh yeah, he's got great ghoul energy.
Yeah, what is the name? Is that the name of the people who are like irradiated and maybe like will eventually become like a zombie ghoul type of person, but they are still like sentient? Is that what they call those people?
I don't remember. It's been so long since I played a Fallout game.
I know, it's been years, so I don't recall. But I think he's going to be one of those people. They refer to as normal people as smooth skins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm interested in this. I do want to follow it, and when it comes out, I will watch it. So some new images, some new things came out this week related to the TV show. So this is gonna, I don't know when this is coming out. I don't know if it will sort of come out and coincide with the launch of Fallout for the next gen version. But my guess is they were like, okay, well, this TV show is going to come out and we don't have a launch plan for this, like a game tie-in. So they're like, well, let's just do a next gen update for Fallout 4, and then we can sort of have something there for people who are like getting into this show and they're like, hey, Fallout's a game, I should play that.
When was this? Do you know when this started filming? Was it recently, or has this been in development for a while?
I feel like it's been in development for a while, but I don't know when like filming and actual like pre-production started. So,
because I will say, like, vault life, the concept of vaults, I feel like lends itself very well to Squid Game. So if they were going to try to ape Squid Game, this is the perfect palette for them to do it.
Yeah, it could be. I'm not sure how much of the series will be like spent in the vault and how much will be spent outside the vault. Like it could be like episode 1, they leave the vault, or it could be like there's some drama and things happening to set stuff up for like half the season, and then eventually they emerge from the vault.
It could also be, I mean, Jonathan Nolan in Westworld loves those like flashbacks. So it could be a thing where they leave the vault in the first episode and then you're constantly flashing back to like time in the vault.
Yeah, that could be too. Very interesting though.
Yeah.
The other Fallout related thing that I have in the show notes is a little recommendation. IGN this last week put out a video called "The Weird and Wonderful Fans Still Playing Fallout 76." And it's like a 45-minute long sort of, not like documentary, but almost like a little video sort of talking about Fallout 76 and like the different communities that have sort of formed around this game that like launched as such a disaster, but has like through, you know, persistent like updates and fixes has sort of carved out its own little niche. And so there are like a number of different communities of people still playing the game on a regular basis. And so it just kind of goes into some of the different people still playing the game. And I thought it was interesting and kind of funny. So maybe worth checking that out if you are interested in Fallout related things.
What if I'm interested in Uncharted things?
Are you interested in Uncharted?
I mean, I played all of them except for that other one. I don't know why I never played that other one that was Lost Legacy. It seems like it's great, and I don't know why I haven't picked it up, but that's the only one I haven't played.
That's the only one I haven't played as well. I think the thing about that one was maybe it was shorter, and I feel like it came out when there was like a bunch of other things coming out around it.
I thought it was DLC for a long time, and then I realized it was its own game.
Yeah, it was its own thing. I don't know if it maybe started as like a DLC, and then they were like, this is enough content to release as its own little side thing. I don't think it was ever a full-priced game either, so I think it's like it could have almost been a DLC, but it was maybe a little bit big for that, so they're like, let's give it its own launch. But it is bundled in with like the rest of that collection. That came out on consoles earlier this year as well. But yeah, apparently Uncharted, having launched on PC now, is Sony's weakest launch yet on PC. I don't know what that says about Uncharted, or whether we will see them move forward with more Uncharted, or maybe they just, if they do more Uncharted, they do them strictly on console and not PC, or if they will
It's weird. Yeah, I don't know how to explain this, because Uncharted is a great game, and I feel like it is a highly anticipated one when it does come out on PlayStation. So I'm not sure why it's not getting an audience on PC.
Yeah, it's a strange one for sure. I wonder if part of it has to do with the fact that like the original trilogy of games came out, you know, like so long ago.
It could be. That first one
maybe even like
needs some refresh.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is supposed to be like sort of a remaster of those, but my thought was maybe like even people who play games on PC like were around back in that generation to have played the original trilogy already. So they're not necessarily looking to get into this for the first time on PC. Like the people haven't been waiting around for this to finally come to PC the way they have with stuff like The Last of Us and Horizon Zero Dawn or God of War, you know? So that was my only thought on it. Maybe that's what explains it, but either way, I'm not sure what the implication of this is just yet. But speaking of things that are DLC or potentially DLC, a game I'm trying to get you to play because I think it's great is Grime. And they announced this last week their free DLC coming to the game is called Colors of Rot. And they released a new trailer. And I don't know what to make of like the new content because most of the trailer they released is content that's already in the game. Mm-hmm. And they did that because this is sort of also a little bit of an announcement that it is coming to all consoles, not just the Switch. We already knew that they were planning a Switch release that did get delayed. It was supposed to come out, I think, in August this year, and they delayed it because they're also working on this DLC. And now we know that it's also coming to all the consoles. So not just the Switch, it's also coming to Xbox and PlayStation. And it will have the DLC, the free DLC bundled with it. So a little bit of an announcement and a little bit of a trailer for the upcoming DLC. I thought it was pretty cool. I will maybe play this when it comes out because I did.
I'm definitely going to pick this up for Switch when it comes out.
Yeah, I keep waiting. I feel like if they do get a physical release on the Switch through like special reserve games or, you know, super rare games or whatever one of those companies is, I would pick it up again and maybe play it through on Switch because I liked it that much. So definitely keep an eye out for that.
I texted you earlier this week, maybe yesterday or the day before, Somerville, that game by, I think it's Jump Ship, who used to be Playdead, is, I guess, releasing on November 15th. They just like tweeted it out like, hey, this is coming out November 15th. So that's pretty exciting. Are you going to check this out?
For sure. It's so crazy that they're like, I was not expecting this to come out this year.
Nor was I. Yeah, it was pretty quiet. I mean, we saw it briefly, I feel like at one of the games presentations during fake E3.
Yeah.
But there was no release date at that point.
Yeah, and then I
now
feel
all of
like
a sudden, like 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, and then I feel like there was no news after that as to like what to expect for this game. And then suddenly they're like, oh, by the way, this is coming out in like 2 weeks.
I'm pretty excited for this, I have to say. I rewatched some of the trailers, and it looks very engaging.
Yeah, I will definitely pick this up and play it. So we'll definitely be talking about this on the podcast after it comes out.
And then I also put this in, this is just a weird story, but that D&D movie, which I think is going to be good, I like Chris Pine, and I like Dungeons & Dragons, has released some toys for the movie, but the toys are D20s that are like Transformers toys. So like... they unfold to be Dungeons & Dragons monsters. So there's like a beholder one and a dragon one and an owl bear one. Or maybe just an owl. But it's weird, but also kind of interesting.
These are things that I would have loved when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah. These look like something that you would get in like a Happy Meal.
Yeah, they look like Happy Meal toys is what I was initially thinking. But yeah. Very interesting.
Interesting stuff. We should do a Starside Cinema on D&D on the Dungeons & Dragons movie because I think it will be really good.
Yeah, I'm into that. We should do that. So there were some things that came out this week, or this last week, I should say. Bayonetta 3. Have you gotten a chance to pick this up, or do you think you will?
No. Unfortunately, I will eventually because I love Bayonetta. The second one was one of the first Switch games I think I ever played. And I played the first one back in the day, just like in high school, but looks great. I've seen great reviews of it. I heard the story is not, or there's some bummer parts about the story, but the gameplay just looks like so solid. I'm so interested in the like summoning capabilities you have in this game, where you basically summon like, 5-story high monsters to fight for you. Mm-hmm. And you can do it, I think, at any time. You turn to a spider, I think, as well, which is cool. I'm into it. But unfortunately, we'll talk about this in a second, but I'm hip deep in Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope at the moment with my girlfriend. So we're playing through that, and that's pretty much all I've had time for right now. But I will pick this up eventually. I'm very excited to play it.
Yeah, I am back and forth on whether I want to pick this up or not, because I have not played the previous Bayonetta games, but I've heard.
You know, I still have my Bayonetta 2. I could send you my tiny little Switch cart in the mail.
Oh, really?
Because I'm done with it, but it was very good.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, I am interested in playing this. I've heard that definitely in terms of like playing as Bayonetta, it's like the best the combat has been in the games before, and people like praise these games specifically for the combat. So
because it's all about not parrying, but dodging at the right time. The conceit is that when you dodge at just the right time, you go into witch time, so everything slows down and you can get a bunch of hits in. And it kind of rewards button mashing, which I'm into because I'm not a super skilled player.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's that power fantasy where like in the last one, like one of the first things you unlocked, actually you might not have even had to unlock it. You could just become a puma that ran super fast, and it was very fun. You could just turn into a puma and run around and explore. And then you also got like giant wings at one point to fly around. This one, I think you're a spider and you can turn into something else, but like the power fantasy of it is so good because you feel super strong and you're constantly getting crazy weapons that don't make sense at all to look at. And they just like are very fun to use and level up.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with you as far as like I'm currently like waist deep in Mario and Rabbids. So, and I'm trying to stick to my goal of finishing that before God of War comes out, which is the next
time's ticking.
Big release on the horizon for me. So if I do get to this, it may not be for a while. So, but I'm interested in it. Maybe I will end up watching a bunch of it so that I can at least have something to say about it. But I
remember in the first one, I somehow got like a free costume that was Link's costume from Legend of Zelda. And then I also unlocked the ability to have 2 giant chainsaws on my feet that I rode around on. And I remember sending a pic of that to our friend Mike and just being like, check out this game I'm playing where I'm this like woman who's dressed as Link with chainsaws on her feet. And he was like, what are you doing? What game is this?
That is crazy. Doesn't she have like, did I make this up? Does she have like guns on her shoes or something? So she can kick
previous
and shoot?
entries, that was the thing, is you could equip both her legs and her arms with different weapons. So you could have crazy combos of like, your feet have basically bazookas on them, but your arms have like a big sword. This does not have that. When you equip a new weapon, it's your whole outfit, I guess, this in Bayonetta 3. So you don't have that combo going on, but now you have the new summoning combo, which I think is I think it's comparable. It's equally fun.
Interesting. Well, another game that came out this week is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and I have not seen a single thing about this game. So
Nor have I.
I think like maybe the single player reviews are out, but the multiplayer reviews are not. So I'm not sure even what the scores are for this, but not something I'm super interested if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I appreciate that it's like, I think they're trying to do like kind of a cinematic single player but the thing about Call of Duty games is I feel like it's never connected. Isn't it always just like a bunch of disjointed stories about an event that's happening from different perspectives? Because there was that one where like you were in space and you saw like a nuke happen and that was a level, or is that a different game?
That I think is a different game. Like the Call of Duty 4, the one from like 2007, is the one that you're like, I think you play a character that dies because a nuke goes off. And so you are sort of playing as different characters and you're sort of witnessing these different events. So some of that is true. I don't know. But again, I fell off the series like with the first Black Ops, and I've like maybe dipped my toes into like a few of the other ones here and there, but I haven't really played the stories. So I don't know.
I don't know. I hate the UI of these games. There's just like way too much stuff on your heads-up display. And it just, I don't know what turns me off about it, but I just feel like the screen is always too busy and I can't make sense of it.
Yeah, my interest in the series fell off a long time ago. So I don't know. I think it's cool that they're kind of revisiting like the old Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2. Like I am into that idea, such that I think I even did buy the previous Modern Warfare, and I did play some of the multiplayer for it on PC, and I thought that was pretty cool. But it didn't stick with me. It was one of those things. It was kind of like Pokemon, where I was like, oh, for sure, I'm gonna get back into this. And then I started playing it. I was like, yeah, I mean, it's good. I just, for whatever reason, it's not grabbing me, and I just kind of fell off of it. And I was like, I feel like it's a waste for me to buy these games anymore, because I know I'm just not going to stick with them.
What about that Junkenstein?
Yeah, I was going to say, Overwatch 2's Halloween event, very timely for this episode, started last week on Tuesday, and I did jump in, and so I got my feet wet first playing the like original Dr. Junkenstein's Revenge event mode, because it was something I was familiar with, and I knew, which characters were going to be in it. And I was like, I'm a little bit like you, a little bit intimidated about jumping back into this game that I've spent so much time away from. But it was nice to have like a cooperative thing where it was like not intimidating, because I'm not facing other enemies. Or other player enemies, I should say. And like right away I could tell, okay, so Overwatch 2, the lighting is a little bit better. Definitely the sound effects have been upgraded. Because I started out as a Soldier 76, and like you can tell just from the sound of his gun that they've put some work in to upgrade the audio for this game. And yeah, I played through Dr. Junkenstein's Revenge, and that was fun, a nice blast from the past, because I play it every year about this time. And then I jumped into the new one, which is called Junkenstein Wrath of the Bride. That's the new sort of cooperative mode that they've added for Overwatch 2 for the Halloween event. And 3 of the characters available to choose for this cooperative mode are the new characters. So you have the healer and the tank and the sort of DPS characters that you can play as. And they all seem to have pretty cool kits. Like the tank character has this like throwing knife that when you throw it and you land it in an enemy, it sort of does like damage over time to them. And then you can recall it and pull it back, almost like Thor's hammer. A little bit.
Interesting.
And when you do that, if you've like stuck it into an enemy, it'll like pull them towards you. And that can be good because you have like your main weapon is basically a shotgun. So yeah, I kind of like that character. And then the healer, which I've not actually played as yet, is a little bit like a Genji or Hanzo, where she can like climb the walls a little bit. And she sort of has these things that she throws out to heal teammates, but she can also, like, with her left click, but her right click does damage to enemies. And like Mercy, she can like target one of your friendly characters and immediately jump over to them. So if they need healing, you can kind of get around the map quick that way. And then the attacker, the DPS character, is a little bit like Soldier 76, where her primary weapon is like just like an auto rifle of some sort. But she also has a right click that you can charge. So if you hold the button down, you charge it and you target them, and you fire off this big blast that like does a bunch of damage. And she has this sort of like, it's almost a grenade that she can throw out that does just this like area of effect damage, where it like you throw it down and it's like this big green bubble that as enemies are like passing through it, it does damage over time to them. So she's a pretty cool character. And so having these cooperative modes like this is just like a great environment to like learn how to play one of the new characters, because it's like you just set it to the normal difficulty, so you're not like you're gonna be overwhelmed by the difficulty of it, and you just get in there and you get to basically practice with one of the new characters. So it's a really good environment if you're just coming back from the game from a long time away, to sort of get your feet wet again and learn not just a character you've played before, but like new characters you haven't played before.
That's the promise of Fallout 2, or not Fallout 2, Overwatch 2, right? Is the cooperative mode is supposed to be the big deal eventually, right?
Yeah, eventually once the like PvE stuff comes out next year, that'll be sort of the promise of that. And they're going to have a whole lot more tied to that, like different things you can do. That's the thing I'm definitely most looking forward to. I want to say there's even going to be like some sort of like progression hooks for like the PvE stuff where you can sort of power up your characters in ways that maybe you can't even do in like the multiplayer stuff. So I do think that's going to be what ultimately really pulls me back into Overwatch 2. I did play some quick play as well, just to get back into like the normal multiplayer modes. And I had fun. I enjoyed it as much as I usually do. And there is like the season pass stuff. So you're sort of, as you're leveling up, you're unlocking some stuff along the way. I haven't paid for the season pass. So I'm just playing the free track since it's free to play. And there are some unlocks that you won't get, obviously, unless you paid for the season pass. But there's some like skins and stuff that you can get regardless. So like as you progress through the season pass, you're going to get some of those skins, which is ultimately the stuff I care about. Like, I don't really care that much about paying for the season pass to get like a voice line. Like, that doesn't really interest me that much. But the skins, that's what I'm kind of in it for. So it's nice that you don't have to pay for the season pass to be able to get those. You just kind of have to level up. They have all these new challenges, which is something I really like, where they have like daily, weekly, seasonal, and event challenges that get you to like, the daily ones are simple stuff like get 3 wins and then you get like some rewards. And there's like maybe weekly and seasonal stuff that's like, play so many rounds as like a DPS or like a healer or something like that. And so it just sort of incentivizes trying different stuff out and playing in different ways. And so I can definitely see why people would definitely jump back into this and get hooked on it again. So I think it does have some good hooks in it. And I can definitely see myself playing more of it. I was actually thinking about it in the last day or two. Is like, you know what, I kind of do want to jump back in and play more Overwatch 2. And specifically with this Halloween event, it being Halloween this weekend as we're recording this, and of course as this podcast goes up, being on actual Halloween day, I do think I will play more of it this weekend. So yeah, and the Halloween event does last like a solid week into November. So even if...
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's because they started it late. I feel like normally it lasts about 2 weeks, but normally it starts in like mid-October and sort of wraps up maybe like a day or two after Halloween. But I don't know, maybe because they launched the game in October as well, they had to kind of push back the launch date for the Halloween event a little bit. And so it started late. So now it's going into November a little bit. But so, yeah, if you want to, there's still plenty of time, even as, we're getting past Halloween at this point, to jump in for free and try out the new cooperative stuff, which is a really, really good way to get your feet wet again in Overwatch if you've not played in a long time.
I'm going to be checking out. Should we get into what we've been... I guess we're kind of already in the what we're playing watching, but we're both also playing Mario Rabbids. I'm interested to see your thoughts. You're farther than I am.
Yeah, so I just got into the 4th area. So past, I think like the first area is like a beach, and then the second one is like winter area. It's all snowy. And then the 3rd area is basically fall or autumn. And it's like, you can tell that like the developers are like, we're going to just basically have seasons for these areas. And because the fall one's not just like, here's like changing leaves and like pumpkins and stuff like that. Like there's even like the theme for the enemies it's a little tying into Halloween. So it's like if you're just getting into Mario and Rabbids and you're getting into that third area, it's even a little bit appropriate for this time of year. But I have moved beyond that one and I'm into the fourth one, which I think is, I don't even know how to describe it. It's maybe the only one that is not like immediately identifiable as like a season. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I don't know about you, but I'm loving it. I like that the overworld has sort of like puzzles and stuff to complete, and even after you've like kind of completed the area, you can still go around and like do more battles and unlock more stuff, and you're sort of constantly progressing your characters and your sparks along the way. I even went back.
I love that all your characters get experience regardless of if they're in your party.
Yes, that is a very good thing. I was a little bit worried at the start of the game that this was going to be like an early Pokemon game where unless they're in your party, they're not going to get any experience, or that the experience would be like, even the amount of experience you got specifically would be tied to like, okay, you used this character to knock out 5 enemies, so you get the most experience with this character, and then you get a little bit for this one for taking out a character. I was worried it was going to be that. Thankfully, it's not. It's just like a flat, here's the amount of experience you got for completing this battle. Everybody gets it, so that's good.
So who are your main 3, or do you switch it up?
I like switching it up. I have used a lot of Rabid Mario, because I think he is... one, hilarious to listen to his lines of dialogue if you're just running around the open world. Or not open world, but the overworld. He's very funny, but also his like his gloves, his like boxing gloves that he used to attack do so much damage. And I have a spark that allows me to you basically play a music box, and it lures all the enemies in an area over to where you are. And so I've got that other spark that I think Mario starts out with, that is like a yellow spark that when you activate it, it like gives like a 40% damage boost to your weapons. And so I will have Rabid Mario lure everyone into a group, and I'll have my other character activate that damage bonus spark. And then I'll just punch all of them with Rabid Mario, and I'll take out like 8 of them in one go. And so I've been able to like really clear battles pretty quickly using that. But
nice.
So yeah, I've used a lot of him. I pretty much always take Rabid Peach as well, just because
she's great.
I feel like you need a healer in your group, but also her ability to fire rockets like over the top of cover is very also useful. Super good. And then I swap my third character out quite a bit. I do like Mario and Luigi just as like, people that have guns and have that Overwatch ability. And Luigi's, there's an upgrade for his that makes it so that he basically shoots through objects when he's in Overwatch mode.
Ooh.
So you don't get it with the basic shot when you do fire his arrow, but when you activate Overwatch mode, if a character moves, even if they're behind something, it fires right through it and hits them. And because his weapon does so much damage, it's basically a kill right away. So
Luigi is great because the range he has is just so useful.
And I think it even benefits him, like the further the range is, the more damage he does. Did I make that up, or is that accurate?
That sounds right, because I have definitely done some crazy shots across the whole map, and it did like 400 damage or something.
Yeah, so and one of the things that this game has, like if you go back into an area you've previously cleared, there are some battles that are like tied specifically to like having a certain number of sparks that you've gathered.
Oh.
And they're like these big enemies. Like the one in the beach area was like a giant Goomba. And I think the one in the winter area was like a giant, like one of those rabbits with like a thwomp on its back. And it jumps around. And they always have like, they're covered in this like oily looking goop. And that basically makes them immune to all like elemental types. So there are these big creatures that just like run around the map, and they have like a giant health pool, and they're immune to elemental types. And of course, there are smaller normal enemies that also spawn in that you have to worry about. But basically, it's like a boss battle to like take out one of those giant creatures. And so I always took Luigi at least as one of my characters because of his high damage output.
Yeah.
And that made it so that I could get through those battles fairly easily. And the nice thing about taking out those enemies is they reward you with a power up so that you can unlock a skill tree for the sparks with each character. So you do have to be careful and like choose wisely on which character you choose to use them on. So like I use a lot of Rabid Peach. So the first character I was like, okay, I'm going to unlock this skill tree for her like sparks, her equipped sparks on her, because I know I'm going to use her on pretty much every battle. So yeah, it's a cool thing to go back, and it gives you even more progression if you go back and do those battles. But
good to know.
Yeah, so how far are you?
I just beat the first boss of the winter area, and I'm about to go to that like palace or whatever. We're going a little bit slower, but I've really been enjoying it. Yeah, I also use Rabid Peach a ton and Luigi a ton. Don't really use Rabid Luigi a lot. I actually maybe have never used him.
There comes a point where you will have these battles with like a bunch of enemies, and they will be positioned in such a way where Luigi's ability to like throw his little disc that like hits an enemy and bounces to another and then bounces to another. And he does become useful because you can hit multiple enemies in one go with him. But he doesn't have great damage output, I would say.
I use that Edge a lot, the girl with the Final Fantasy VII sword.
Yeah.
Because I like her. That does high damage for me, and she can like do it in a line and get a bunch of people.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have great mobility. Like she definitely can't like run as far as everybody else. But we've been mixing it up and playing different people pretty much every couple matches just to see what happens. But I'm loving it. I think it's going to be. I will complete it, although I'm very worried I won't complete it before God of War happens. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I will say the Winter Palaces or that area is one that I found was weird because it was pretty difficult. Like once you finish the main quests there and you're like able to move on, it always makes it so that you can like go around and there are a bunch of these little side quests to do. And I always wanted to do all of those before I moved on. But the Winter Palace, like more than the other ones, was like you don't have like a power up for Beepo to be able to get around to do all of those. So like once you finish the main stuff, there's probably some side quests that you can do before you move on, but like don't worry too much if you're like, I don't know how to get to these things that I can see. Like when you pull up the map, you can kind of see where the side quests are. And it frustrated me for a little bit because I was like, I can see them, I just can't figure out how to get to them. Like don't worry about that, just move on to the next place. You'll get a Beepo power up and then you'll be able to go back there and do more of them.
That is good to know.
Yeah, and I feel like they're giving new Beepo power ups like in each area after that, and so
that's what I figured. Yeah,
you'll be able to go back and like go to new areas. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it as well. I like. Would you say you like the combat better than the first one, or is it pretty similar?
I mean, it's a real game changer to be able to not have that grid and run around as much as you want before you attack.
Yeah.
Like towards the end of the first game, it did get pretty difficult, and I had to replay some matches just because I got myself into basically unwinnable situations by making bad decisions. With this, I feel like you have a lot more leeway to mess up, especially because also you like it lets you like before every round, it's basically like, hey, look at this round and see if you want to change your team around and like affect, like maybe you do want long range, or maybe you are going to be doing a lot of like close range combat, so maybe you should get or Rabbid Mario. They've just streamlined a lot of stuff and made it easier, but not, well, maybe not even easier, just like more forgiving and like easier to understand, I should say. This is definitely a refinement of the formula. Like going back to the first one, I think it would still be fun, but I think it would definitely feel constricting to be back on the grid and like to have action points count for like, you know, movement and stuff.
Yeah, I wondered about that because I do have the first one. I've not played it, and I was like, I wonder if I'm even gonna wanna go back to the first one after playing this one, just because
it's a different vibe for sure. I mean, it has wonderful music. The score is just so good, and it also has these overworld puzzles that you have to do, and some of them are a little bit inscrutable, but it's good. I have fond memories of the first one. I think you would enjoy going back to it.
I might have to do that at some point, but yeah, I'm really enjoying this one. You talked about the music. I think the music in this game is good as well. Famously, they have 3 different like well-known composers working on the soundtrack for this game, and yeah, I really like the music, especially in the fall area. I feel like that is pretty good there. But yeah. Anything else you've been playing or watching?
Not really. This has been kind of a slow week. Well, busy at work, so I haven't had a lot of time to do non-work stuff. But mostly just playing Mario Rabbids, and then did I watch something? Oh, I've been watching anime. So like I've been watching Spy X Family and Chainsaw Man and Mob Psycho 100, all of which are great, and I highly recommend.
The stuff I've been watching, very timely for Halloween. I want to throw this out there. If you like travel stuff, like I'm subscribed to several people who are like basically Japan vloggers, or like not necessarily even vloggers. They kind of like do these live streams where they walk around different areas in Japan and they just talk about stuff. And so last year was when I first started getting these recommendations, but if you just like YouTube Shibuya Halloween, the videos are crazy to see. There are all these videos of people just like holding up a camera on like a selfie stick or like a gimbal, and there's no commentary, nothing. It's literally just walking around Shibuya, because that normally is a very crowded area anyway. Because famously that's where the big like sort of Times Square area is, and there's like a bunch of crosswalks there, and so there's always a lot of people there. But on Halloween it becomes basically like an enormous costume party, and so you basically get to see people walking around, seeing everybody in their costumes, and you'll see, like, I watched one earlier this last week where I saw like a Power Ranger just randomly walk up and see a Spider-Man, and he like tapped on his shoulder and they just took a picture together, and then they moved on. And that's basically what you see. You just see a ton of like these people in crazy costumes like running into each other and being like, hey, I got a crazy costume, you got a crazy costume, let's take pictures. And so it's just like, if you are not able to get out to like a fun like costume party or anything like that for Halloween, just watch one of these and you'll get to sort of live vicariously through these people having these crazy costumes, and this gigantic, like basically citywide costume party. They really go all out for Halloween there.
Wow, this is crazy.
And then a funny little, so I watched a video where somebody was like talking about being in Shibuya for Halloween one year, and they recommended this Instagram account called Shibuya Meltdown, which is not Halloween related, but basically it's a pretty common sight to see somebody who has basically gone a little too wild and maybe had a little too much to drink, and they are basically passed out either on like the subway or like on a street corner somewhere. And so there's an Instagram account basically dedicated to like sharing silly images of people who have just gotten completely wasted. And yeah, it's called Shibuya Meltdown. It's pretty funny Instagram account to follow. But yeah, definitely watch some of those Shibuya Halloween videos because it's pretty funny.
Man.
And then the only other thing I put in here as a recommendation for a game I haven't played but I want to play, if you're into Metroidvanias, it's a game called Islets or Islets. I don't know how you pronounce it. I assume it's Isle, right? Is how you pronounce that word. And this is like a group of isles would be called islets. I kind of like the art style. It seems like a pretty cool Metroidvania. That's something that I'm adding to my wish list. If you're listening to this and you've played it and you like it, let us know. Or even if you didn't like it, just let us know what you thought of it.
Well, here's a tip if you're interested in Metroidvanias, but also in a scary mood. Is Hollow Knight is a great game.
Hollow Knight. I feel like Grime would also kind of fit the bill.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Throw that one out there. You got any parting wisdom for us?
You know what I've been doing recently? I've been eating almonds.
Almonds are good for you.
Never really a big nut guy, but I read recently that somebody was like, oh yeah, if you ever have like stomach problems or something, which sometimes I have stomach problems, you should try eating a handful of almonds every day. It'll be good. It's full of like nutrients or whatever. And so every day I've been eating about a handful of almonds, and almonds are great. I would do it even if it wasn't supposedly helping me or my stomach, because they're very good to eat, and I highly recommend them.
I feel like I've had almonds in the past, or I've talked to people who almonds mess up their stomach a little bit, such that they
really
don't eat almonds anymore. So I don't know if it's great advice to say eat almonds to help your stomach, but I do think almonds are tasty and are probably very nutrient rich for you. So
I can't tell if it's helping me or not, but I guess I'm trying to think. So I just started last Monday. I don't think I've had too many. Well, here's something I think I talked about previously on the podcast. I am a big proponent of that Beyond Orange Chicken from Panda Express.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I had that, I did have an event afterwards. I had to visit the restroom, but I got it yesterday, and I just was able to digest it. So probably unrelated to these almonds, but
some of it might just be like your stomach getting used to a new thing. So,
could be, I don't know.
So maybe if you ate almonds and you did have a bad time of it, maybe if you keep eating almonds, your stomach will adjust. I don't know.
Could be.
I don't know. I've just heard people, like I've talked about almonds or almond milk before, and people have been like, oh yeah, I can't have that. It messes my stomach up.
Oh,
but
interesting.
Maybe it's certain people. Anyway, hope you are having a great Halloween, and let us know what you did for Halloween, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.